Hey
Good
Kishore,
afternoon, Pati sir.
can you please allow me to open the video?
Yes, sir. You can. You can now.
Hi,
Hi, sir.
whether
Good afternoon, sir.
Venkatesh, hi, Venkatesh Sarangan has joined.
No, sir. I've shared him there. I'll just make a call.
Hi, Aarti.
Hello, sir. This is Kishore from PALS, sir. Sir, are you joining the session now, sir? Sir, I have sent you the meeting details, sir. By 12 o'clock, I sent you the meeting details. Yes. Okay, okay, sir. 1:30 the session will start, sir. Yes, sir. 1:30 to 3 o'clock your session, sir. Okay. Okay, sure, sir. Thank you. Venkatesh Sarangan is on lunch. He'll come in a few minutes.
Okay.
తర్వాత వాళ్ళు చాలా డిసప్పాయింట్మెంట్ అయిపోయి నీ టైంలో సుక్క మచ్చి అంటారు కదా, డ్రై ఫిష్ అదే తిన్నారు, అందుకే నువ్వు డార్క్ గా ఉన్నావు, అందుకే నువ్వు గ్లామర్ కాలేదు అలా అన్నారు. கிராண்ட் மதர் எக்கோ அக்கோ ஊருக்கு உழைப்பவன் ஷூட்டிங் வந்து பெங்களூர்ல நடந்தது. அப்ப அவுட்டோர்ல நடக்கிறப்போ லைட் வரல, சன்லைட் இருக்கல, அதனால ஷூட்டிங் எல்லாரும் உட்கார்ந்து இருந்தோம். அப்ப அவர் கேட்டாரு, நீ ஒரு படம் எடு, நான் நடிச்சு கொடுக்குறேன் அப்படின்னு. நான் அப்பதான் ஒரு படம் எடுத்து நஷ்டமாகி ரொம்ப இது பிரச்சனையில இதுவாகி இருக்கிற டைம் அது. நான் வந்து சார் உங்களை எல்லாம் வச்சு படம் எடுக்கிற அளவுக்கு நான் பெரிய ப்ரொடியூசர் இல்ல அப்படின்னு சொல்லி சொன்னேன். அப்புறம் அப்படியே முடிஞ்சது, ஷூட்டிங் முடிஞ்சது, ரூமுக்கு போயாச்சு. அப்புறம் பார்த்தாக்கா ஷூட்டிங் முடிஞ்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் பார்த்தா ஒத்தரா என் ரூமுக்கு வந்து, அம்மா அந்த தப்பை மட்டும் செஞ்சிடாதீங்க, அவரை வச்சு படம் எடுத்து
Good afternoon, Ram sir. Ram sir.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Kishore, how many have registered?
1,700.
Okay. So they are just trickling in. Okay.
We'll start by 1:30, sir.
Okay, let them join. Okay.
Hello, Kishore.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whether Venkatesh Sarangan is joined?
Not yet, sir. Anyway, participants are joining. We'll start 1:35, sir.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir. Sir, now you can unmute, sir.
Hey, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Now we can hear you.
Okay. So, is my screen visible? Yeah.
Yes,
Hi,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Hi,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Hi.
Dr. Venkatesh. This is Ram, another PALS champion.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to all of you.
Yeah, glad
Sorry
to.
about I was in Bangalore on a business travel,
Okay.
and then I didn't realize that Kishore had sent a mail until I received the call from him. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, Sarang. Nice. Nice to see
Okay.
you here. And then Paddy here.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Just I will be doing the introduction. Thanks, Rams, for joining.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
others. Yeah.
Sir,
Can we start, Kishore? Yeah.
And
Sir, we'll wait for
no,
three
there are
more minutes.
only
1:35. Participants are joining.
just now 100 participants. So, okay.
We'll
We'll
wait
give
for
it.
1:35. We start, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Dr. Venkatesh, I am a core engineering guy. So far, I'll be listening with interest.
I
I
hope
must.
I hope
I
the
must.
talk is up to your expectations. So let's see.
So I am a sand and metal guy. So I'm
Oh.
wondering, yes, and then always it has been a challenge. We always think about how these things can help us in Foundry.
Okay. So,
So I'll
okay.
be.
So today I'll be talking, giving a sort of overview of different fields. In specifically, I will go into power systems because that's something where I work on.
Oh, okay.
In fact, my brother works in Breaks India, so he can probably he could he would be.
Breaks India at Padi.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I worked in the Foundry division at Schollinger.
Oh, I see.
They
I
are
see.
supporting PALS also.
I see. I know. I think one of the presidents came
Ah,
for that the meeting in alumni club. I met the gentleman as well. So from Breaks India. So
yes. I remember that. Yes, that was long back. He was a manager when he was my colleague as well.
I
Yeah.
see. Even brother is a old timer. I mean, the president of Foundry Division. I think he joined. I think for that meeting.
Yes.
And my brother is in the. He was in different. His name is Balaji.
Okay.
He was in MSc, new products. Then he moved
Okay.
to SAP. Now they have something called as a future factories division or whatever in Padi. I think he's at, but he goes to last Saturday he went to Schollinger. So for instrumentation or whatever. So
Okay.
he goes to Schollinger, Polambakam, Sri City, and then he sort of does a chakkar. Yeah.
So they all used to reject the castings and we all used to run after them. That was 30 years ago.
I see. I see. So nice.
And now they gave a lecture also on little bit on IoT in Foundry. So I am
Ah,
quite sure that they'll be using more and more of the technology in the manufacturing.
absolutely. So certainly. But I mean, in fact, he is okay. I mean, so whatever you said, I had a chance to talk to him. He was saying that they are using like vision, all the sensing, prediction, all those things. Sort of mentioning that. Yeah, certainly, whatever you have envisioned, I think it's sort of they are trying to bring that to practice. Yeah.
Can we start, sir?
We have 194. Huh? Okay.
Okay. We start, sir. Participants will come.
Yeah. Please start. Yeah. They will join. Yeah.
I'll start the recording first. Good afternoon, all. Welcome to the PALS special lecture on AIML for real-world industry problems. I'm Kishore from PALS Program Management Office. I'll be monitoring the session today. I would like to reiterate the basic instructions once again. For easy identification, please rename your Zoom display name as your college short name and your name. Participants will be muted and allowed to unmute only during the Q&A session. Chat box usage will be restricted. You can message the host or co-host will be enabled on need basis. During the session, if you have any questions to be asked to the speaker, please write to askpalspmo@gmail.com. This mail will be monitored throughout the session. Ensure to write your name and your college name along with the question. The other way to ask your question is use raise hand option to interact with the speaker. Attendance link will be pasted in the chat box. Please use the registered mail ID to mark your attendance. Participants are requested to register in the Slido at the beginning of the session. Now I request Mr. Pati Lakshmi Narayanan, PALS champion, to give the opening remarks and introduce the speaker.
Thanks, Kishore. Thanks, Venkatesh Sarang, as well as Rams and other people who joined for this. This session is something which is very apt for today, and then what is happening in the industry. Artificial intelligence is the one which is impacting all the people across the industry. It is more or less like horizontal. We are seeing this impacting. And then who else can talk about this other than people like Sarang, who is working extensively on this one. And then TCS, he's from TCS. TCS is one of the companies which is serving all the verticals, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is banking, whether it is insurance, everything. So the level of artificial intelligence intrusion into these fields, as well as the challenges, definitely is the better candidate to talk about it. And then it is aptly the right time, because PALS is equally is planning to have a session on artificial intelligence impact on core industries. Sometime in October or November, you'll be able to see that one. Where we want to deep dive into every session for every industry, whether it is IT, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is retail or healthcare, etc. So today, definitely, it is going to be a very interesting session for you. And then I am having a privilege of introducing Dr. Venkatesh Sarangan. Venkatesh is a chief scientist at Tata Consultancy Services. He heads the future of energy research at TCS. He has over 20 years of experience in academic research, corporate research, and IP-driven solution development. He has published more than 75 papers in research conferences and journals. He has also been on the program committee of leading conference on the future energy system. Venkatesh obtained his PhD in computer science and engineering from the Pennsylvania State University at State College, USA in 2003. He was a faculty with computer science department at Oklahoma State University and joined TCS in 2009. He received Distinguished Scientist Award from TCS Research in 2018. He is a ACM India eminent speaker and a member of governing body of IIT Trichy. So thanks, Venkatesh Sarang, for joining. Over to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for the kind introduction. Thanks to PAL for giving me an opportunity to talk to all of you. I hope my audio is clear. So in case you
Yes,
have
sir, your audio is clear.
Thank you so much. I'm going to start sharing my screen. I will go to the full screen mode. So in case you have any interruptions or questions or whatever, probably you could sort of voice it out, or you could sort of hold on to your questions. Maybe the last few minutes or so, I will take time to answer your questions. Even if I cannot answer your question in this session, I will take a note of it and then respond to you over emails. Okay, so very happy to be a part of this. And today, I assume that many of the students who are attending this will be undergraduates across different engineering disciplines. And today, I'm not going to go into the depth of AI or whatever, rather, the intent of this presentation is to give you an overview of how AI is used across several industries. Okay, and in particular, I'll take few more examples from the power systems, energy systems. Okay, that where I'm currently working on, and then I'll start off talk about that to you. Okay. And organizers, how much time do I have in total?
Sir, 1 hour lecture, sir. 3:30 maximum, 3 to 3:30.
Oh, now it's 1:40. So
Yes, 3 o'clock we mentioned. We can go up to 3:50.
oh, no, that's fine. Perhaps what I'll do is I'll try to talk about for roughly, let's say, 50 minutes to 1 hour, depending on how long it takes, and then last 20-25 minutes or so we can have for Q&A. Okay, so I'll take time to sort of answer people's questions. Okay, I'm going to sort of share my screen. Okay. Could you please let me know if my screen is visible?
Yes, your screen is visible, sir.
So you're able to see my slide and all those
Yes,
things?
yes.
Okay. So I'm going to the full screen mode.
Yes.
So which means I will not be able to see the video. If there's anything you need, feel free to interrupt me. Okay.
Of course.
So this is what I had in mind. Of course, all of us know what AI is. Maybe I'll take 5 to 10 minutes just explaining or giving examples of how AI is presently used as of today across various industries. Then I'll go into a lot many more examples specifically in energy domains. And finally, I'll take some time to sort of tell students about what does it take to sort of prosper in to have a career in AI. Okay, so what are the skills that are needed? Okay, so roughly speaking, what is AI? If you want to explain in simple words, it is about making machines think and behave and decide like humans, or in some cases it could be making the machines do these things, thinking, acting, behaving, etc., in a way better than humans. Okay, that's the a simple, I would say, a common definition of the artificial intelligence, which all of us, we can sort of explain this to our grandmothers. Okay, that's the my definition of AI. And today we are at an age where, whether we like it or not, AI is sort of all around us. Okay, to begin with, we use Google Maps. I'm sure that almost all of us use Google Maps to go from point A to point B. Google Maps uses AI. And when we go from one city, one state, when we go beyond Tamil Nadu to go to Karnataka, Andhra, or even some other parts of India, we can simply take a picture of some notice board, and Google Translate will help us to translate that into whatever we want. Okay, and same thing in all of us watch YouTube videos. There will be a lot of comments in other languages. Google sort of automatically translates that comment into sort of whatever language is to our liking. And weather forecasts, all of us we have the Tamil Nadu weatherman, who is sort of giving us a lot of insights on how rainfall is going to be. Thanks to him, I think weather interest in weather has really picked up in at least in Tamil Nadu. So people like them, they use a lot of models. In addition to that models, a lot of AI also goes into that. Of course, we know about robots, drones, and self-driving cars. Okay, things like Alexa, Siri, Hello Google. All these are, of course, Chat GPT. Okay, so how can I forget the Chat GPT? These are all great examples of what is AI and how they have sort of pervaded the things around us. Okay, now AI is not a single discipline. It has several sub-disciplines. And for example, one thing which we commonly come across is machine learning, right? So I want to know, people talk about deep learning, machine learning, prediction, etc., all those things. Those sort of things come under machine learning, where using data we try to infer some sort of learn a mathematical model which will mimic the system. That's machine learning for us. Cognitive science is something, it's a branch of artificial intelligence where people study how knowledge gets represented, how knowledge gets stored, how people perceive things. That's cognitive science. Multi-agent systems. I mean, during the recent, Operation Sindoor, we would have learnt about a lot of drone attacks. Okay, both the other country was launching on India, and India was also, launching some drones on the other country. So these are all what we call as multi-agent systems. Okay, these are individual systems. How do we make them communicate and come together, act as a group? Okay, that's multi-agent systems in robotics. uh, NLP is natural language processing. So it is about, when somebody says something in English, how do we understand and sort of make sense out of it? Okay, I mean, thanks to Chat GPT and all the LLMs, large language models, this NLP has become a very commonplace now. Still, people are sort of working this. Okay, as of now, NLP, that all the Chat GPTs, they sort of do text separately, but the way world is evolving is they are doing what is called as multimodal generative AI. Text, videos, sound, images, everything being put together. Of course, vision and image processing, right? So if the camera sees, for example, uh, many of the latest iPhones, right? You just look at the iPhone and then it unlocks. Face unlock is what they call. It is there in other, Android phones as well. So these are all advances due to vision and image processing, which is a separate subfield by itself. Okay, these are some of the, broad topics in AI. Now moving on, these are some examples of how AI is being used across several industries. I know some of us, I mean, I have left out manufacturing. My apologies for that, because I don't have a good grounding in manufacturing. So, sort of, I have avoided putting something which I'm not familiar with. But to say something about myself, I have my undergraduate degree is in power systems, triple E. Okay. My master's degree is in signal processing, which is ECE. And my PhD is in computer science. And when I sort of joined TCS research, I have worked on buildings, I have worked on water networks, which are all core civil engineering department fields. Now I'm working on power systems. I am back to, triple E. So I got exposed to several fields, and I'll try to share whatever, I have come across in terms of AI. Okay, I'll talk about energy a little later. In transport, right? So transport is, in several countries, even in India for that matter, there are a lot of traffic cameras which are sort of AI controlled. Okay, depending on there are cameras at different road intersections. These cameras sense how many vehicles are coming. Depending on the vehicle density, if there are a large number of vehicles coming in, and if there are fewer vehicles coming in, depending on that, the timing of the red signal and the green signal, it sort of varies. Okay, that's traffic management. Google Maps, of course, Ola and Uber, right? So all of us use Ola, Uber, Rapido, whatever. And how does Ola, Uber, or Rapido, how do they know how many cars to place in given locality? Or if there are, let's say, multiple vehicles in the vicinity, how do they know which vehicle to pick? And if there are multiple routes to go from point A to point B, which route to suggest for the driver, which the passenger will be comfortable? Because these are the things where AI is being used extensively. In, of course, airports, in scheduling trains, in scheduling aeroplanes, etc. AI is sort of used very much. Healthcare, okay, we can sort of I mean, medical imaging is a very well-known field where instead of doctors looking at the X-rays and the MRI images, CT scans, and all those things, it will be a AI system which will be viewing all the X-ray images, CT scans, etc., and sort of diagnosing what the possible defect could be in the human being, and the doctors will sort of validate that. Okay, that's one thing. Second is, we are now moving towards an era where people are able to analyze uh, a lot of health data which is very specific for an individual person, and accordingly they are able to decide the course of treatment. For example, in when I was young, when I have, let us say, headache, for example, it will be like take a Crozin or a Saridon or a paracetamol 650 or whatever. Okay, now things are improving to the fact that if I have an headache, what kind of drug combination should I suggest? If I have a migraine, if the migraine gets triggered by different things, okay, so what kind of a specific dosage, specific medicine combination will help? Okay, those are the things where healthcare is evolving towards. Drug discovery. This is something where TCS was personally involved. We have a large team which works on drug discovery. During the recent COVID, so we are working with our Indian, defense disease center for disease control, etc. We were running lot of AI models, artificial intelligence models, to come up with lot of possible candidate vaccines, to sort of as a for COVID, for COVID virus. Okay, we working with our government. We were trying to discover drugs not only for COVID but for other diseases as well, so that the cost of drug discovery can come down, which will be very good for the common man. And of course, robotic surgery. I mean, right now you see a lot of hospitals advertising that it's not a doctor who is going to do the surgery, it is going to be a robot which is going to do and operate on a human. It's very good because robots can be very precise, and the success rate would be very high. Okay, and moving on to banking and finance, trading, stock market trading, right? All of us invest in shares, mutual funds, etc. So people do what are called as algorithmic trading. There are, of course, there are human stockbrokers who do the trades, but certain companies, what they do is they have a lot of AI algorithms which look at the various prices in the shares of different companies, how the stock market is performing. Depending on that, they will buy or sell the shares. It is being used, AI is being used in a big way to detect what are called financial crimes. Who is doing money laundering? What are the Hawala channels, etc.? All those things are being done. Okay, and I mean, for all that our Indian government is investing in AI heavily to make our country a very less risky from a financial crime point of view. Going on to media and entertainment, right? Of course, we have all those graphics, CGIs, computer generated images. Okay, we see all the latest movies coming with a lot of graphics, etc. And then there was this latest movie on Narasimha, which is a purely animation movie, fully generated by computers using AI and ML techniques. And now people are using generative AI, things like Chat GPT, to create movie trailers, to convert their scripts into movies, etc. All those things. So it's coming up in a very big way. Retail refers to selling. Okay, we go to Kumaran Silks, we go to Nalli silk sarees, we go to Kanchipuram buying the silk sarees. If your latest one, you go to Reliance Trends, you go to West Side, all these places to buy clothes, buy jewelry, buy consumer goods, etc. Now, lot of these stores, they have an online version where they let you try on virtually. If maybe you can take a picture of yourself, upload it, and then it will sort of tell you how you would look in a specific dress, and how a specific jewelry or a necklace would look on us, how would a watch look in our hand. So those are the things, where AI is being used very heavily. If you go to Amazon, Flipkart, etc., based on your browsing history, they will recommend newer products that you can buy, that you may be interested in. They will sort of send out offers that you may be interested in. So all these recommendations, advertisements, etc., those are the things which sort of come in a very big way in retail. So this is a snapshot of what how AI is being used as of today across all these industries. It is happening even without we realizing that it is an AI. Okay, now I'm going to spend some time focusing specifically on energy and the power systems domain where I am working on. Okay, so moving on. Before I go, is there any? Let me just stop sharing. Are there any questions, one or two questions I can answer before I move on to power systems? You can share your questions on chat bar in your chat window or whatever.
Participants, the chat box is open. You can type your questions. Sir, can we have a 15 minutes question answer session at the end?
We can have more than that. No worries. Now it's around 2 o'clock. I'll sort of pace myself, and so I need to maybe we will end at 3. I will sort of try to end my talk at 2:35 or so. Kishore, if I can request you, if you could give me a sort of a warning at 2:30, saying that that will help me.
Okay, sure.
Okay, so thank you. Let's any questions?
Participants, you can type your questions in the chat box.
Chat box. So feel free to, as and when you have questions, please feel free to type your questions. At the end, I will go through the questions and then I'll start answering one by one. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. And I'm going to share my screen again. Kishore, is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to full screen mode. Okay. So, see, whatever I'm going to talk about, these are all real world uses. We are not talking about research. This is not an academic setting. These are all techniques which people have used in real world conditions. Okay. So, in specifically, I'll talk about how AI and ML is being used in core power system operations. It can be used for a lot of things. The rest of my talk is going to focus specifically on core power systems operations. Okay, how it is being used for day-to-day lives. So, okay, I will sort of skip this slide. I'll give examples. Okay, so AI/ML can be used for several things. Okay, number one, of course, all when it comes to AI, typically we talk about prediction, forecasting, and things like that. So we will see examples of that, how it is being used in power system. The next thing, AI ML comes to what we comes to our mind is classification. What this means is, if I show a picture to a computer, can the computer say it is a cat or a dog or a human or whatever? It's called as classification problem. So we will, how AIML is sort of, it can be used to classify systems, meaning if there is there a fault in the system, is the system running normally? If there is a fault, what kind of a fault is it? So we can use AIML for them as well. And we can use AIML to guess. For example, if you go to a doctor, the doctor just measures our pulse, measure blood pressure, our temperature, etc. And based on that, the doctor guesses or estimates, like, your lungs could be in this condition. You may have a muscle sprain. You may have an infection internally, something like that. Even without seeing directly, the doctor is guessing or diagnosing what could be the possible system, what could be happening inside. That's called as estimation, state estimation. Okay, so we can use AIML for those sort of things in power systems as well. Of course, we can use it for control. Okay, these days we talk about self-driving cars. We talk about vacuum cleaners, which sort of, like robots, they go clean the house by themselves. These are called control problems. We can use AIML for control as well. So what I'll do is I'll talk about some examples for each of these things, okay, of where we have actually used. Now, where is forecasting used? Okay, forecasting is used in several ways. Number one, in what we call, we need to understand how much demand is going to be there. Okay, so why is it important? See, let's assume that in our home, our mom or father, mother or father, they are going to cook food. Okay, so every day there are going to be 4 or 5 or 6 of us, depending on if you have grandparents or brothers and sisters. If the number of people remains the same, mother or father, they know how much to cook. Let's say that there is a function, a birthday party or whatever, which is being organized in our home. The first question they will try to ask is, how many people are going to come? Because depending on how many people are going to come, we need to, we need to cook, or we need to order food, etc. So in some sense, our parents are trying to estimate what will be the demand for food, so that appropriate amount of food can be created or cooked or whatever. In the same way, in a power system, people should, the power system network operator should know what is going to be the overall demand for electricity, because only then we will be able to generate an appropriate amount of, only then we can start the coal generators, we can start the nuclear power plants, we can start the hydro power plants, etc. Only then we can sort of plan for appropriate generation. In power system, the amount of generation and demand should remain the same at all points in time. If there is a mismatch between generation or demand, either if there is a over generation or a under generation, the grid will collapse. We will get what is called as a blackout. The entire grid will collapse. We'll have a blackout condition. Okay, so hence it is very important to forecast demand. And we have, in real world, people are using a lot of AML techniques to forecast demand. I'll show you some examples. Second is on the generation. I just told you that, in a grid, the generation and demand should be the same always at all points in time. Now we have used AI for generating demand. Then let's go to the generation side. Okay, in generation, there are two kinds of generators. Some generators which we can control, like we have in some apartments, in flats, they have a backup diesel generator, right? So whenever there is a power cut, the diesel generator will be turned on. That will be powering all the lights and fans in the apartment. So in the same way, it is happening in a big scale in the grid as well. These are called as controllable generators. Now there are some generators like wind turbines and solar plants. These are renewable plants. people cannot control how much energy is getting generated from these wind turbines and solar power plants because they are controlled by nature. Now we can use AI to predict the demand. We need to use AI to predict the renewable generation. Why? Because it is not human control. We cannot control. We can only predict. So depending on how much demand is there and how much renewable is there, humans should use the other controllable generators so that demand and supply are matching always. So there is a scope for us to forecast or predict renewable generation as well. It is also picking up very much now that Indian government, almost all the governments across the world, they are encouraging green or renewable or sustainable energy. So this is becoming very important. And just like the way we are using, the third is what we call markets. Just like the way people buy and sell shares and stocks in the stock market, um, people buy and sell electricity in electricity markets. That is also coming a big way. So which means we need to have forecasting for market prices as well. Okay, I'll give some give some examples of all these things. Okay, so I gave you example of 1 second for system demand. Now, as a part of TCS, we forecasted the system demand for the country of France. Okay, and the requirement is that when we are today, when we are, today is what, Wednesday, Thursday, I think, right? Today is Thursday. Sitting in Thursday, like around 2 p.m., 2:10 p.m., we have to forecast the demand for tomorrow, Friday. This is called day ahead forecasting or 24 hours ahead forecasting. Sitting now, we should be able to predict what will be the demand for each hour tomorrow. Why? Because unless we sort of do this prediction or forecasting, only then we can sort of turn on all the generators appropriately to make sure that supply and demand are the same. Okay, and it's not that people are not doing forecasting today. People are doing forecasting. We came up with a newer way for forecasting using deep learning techniques. Uh, Let me not go into the details. If you have any questions, feel free. I will be more than happy to give you more details on this. But the important thing is this is latest technique like deep learning, etc., are being used in power systems to forecast the demand. Okay, and we compared with what a deep learning would do with respect to what the France guys have been doing so far. What we see is, if you look at this on the is my screen visible? Yeah. So what you Okay, what you see here is we used our sort of some technique which we came up with us in TCS. So we compared the accuracy of our results with what they have been doing so far. In certain months, like red one is TCS, blue one is what they have been doing. In certain months, we are doing very well in comparison to what France they have been doing by themselves. In certain months, we are sort of not doing very well. They are doing better than us. Okay, so but on an average, we find that the error is less than 4%. What this means is, if we forecast the demand for tomorrow to be 100, then the real value will be somewhere between 97 or 96 to 104. It will be in a very short range. Okay, that's what this error 4% indicates. It's very good because the higher the accuracy, better it will be for the people who manage the power system to dispatch the generators. And this is something which we are very proud of. Okay, we sort of collaborated with IIT Bombay, And guess what? I talked about, I gave an example of, our mother cooking in the home, right? See, during COVID, what happened was, because of infection spreading, etc., India went through lot of lockdowns and opening ups. When there is a lockdown, what happens is no people do not go to work, they stay at home, etc. Consequently, what happens is there are no people to work in all the factories. So all the electricity that is being consumed by the factory is going to reduce. Now the question is, if there is a lockdown, how do all the generators know how much electricity to generate? Because nobody has seen COVID, the lockdowns have not been seen before. One can say I can use machine learning to do this prediction, but machine learning will not work here. The reason is machine learning will work only when what I have seen in the past is going to be applicable in future as well. Whereas in COVID, there was no lockdown before, and there's going to be lockdown. These two scenarios are very different. So whatever I have learned in the past, it is not going to help me in the future. Okay, so machine learning will not help here, but nevertheless, we should come up with some sort of a technique to help the network operators forecast the demand. So we went to what is called as a statistical approach. Machine learning is one way of AI. Statistical AI is another branch of AI where we went to statistics and then we used statistics to do the prediction. Okay, so this graph here, it gives you the accuracy, right? So the blue line is the actual, the SDA, the orange line is what you would have used if we had gone with machine learning based approach. The green line is what we had done using statistical AI. As you can see, for the first 2 or 3 days, both the machine learning and our statistical AI, it was not good. But after that, we see that the statistical technique, it started becoming very accurate, whereas the machine learning was still bad. Okay. So we sort what this means is, I gave this example to just to illustrate that we cannot go blindly with one discipline of AI for the solution for all problems. Okay, some branches of AI will work out for some conditions. So in the previous case, in the France case, deep learning, the machine learning aspect worked. However, in Mumbai, machine learning did not work. We had to go to statistical AI to come up with a newer technique. Okay, so that's the message I wanted to give you. It's not that we should always stick to one technique as a solution for all problems. Depending on the problems, we should pick and choose the technique that is appropriate for that scenario. Okay, we talked about forecasting demand. Now we'll talk about forecasting renewables. Okay. Okay, so here is the thing. We did this forecasting of renewables for United Kingdom. Okay, for some other. These are real world data sets. Okay, from from UK. Now our task is to forecast the output of wind turbines. Okay, there are two main types of renewable energy: solar and wind, and we had to forecast the output of wind turbines. We gave some examples, right? So in these examples, you see some examples here. In these examples, let's say top examples 1 and 2, you see for a given a wind speed, the output of the wind is almost very consistent. It is not, there is not a lot of variance. Okay, so these things are very easy to predict. But if you look at the bottom two graphs, we see that for a given wind speed, the power can be either low or it can be high. You see two lines, right? So the output can be either along the lower line or the upper line. Similarly, here you see that for the higher wind speeds, the output can be either lower or it can be higher. So the question is, how do we know which which is the correct value for a given situation? Because unless we predict correctly, if the error in prediction increases, it is going to become make the task of the network operators very difficult, because they do not know if they have to produce low or high, and if there is a generation and demand mismatch, the grid will sort of collapse. Okay, it's a very critical task. So we came up with some what we call as we didn't go to our deep learning, etc., all those things. We didn't pick that. We didn't pick statistical techniques. We simply went with a simple neural network. Okay, we simply went with the neural network, and we sort of trained it, and it was able to forecast the output very accurately. As you can see, the orange line is the actual value, true value. The blue line is the predicted value. They seem to match reasonably well. Okay, and if you notice here, we had two lines, right? So to sort of model these two lines, we came up with two different models, and we came up with a way to fuse or combine the output into a single forecast, and again that gave very good results. Okay, so what we see here is, oops, this is the output from a single model, from output from two models. The error is shown here. Okay, 2.86, 2.85, not big difference, but the real difference comes here. Okay, when we have two models, we see that about the about 77% of the time, okay, the error rate is less than 10, whereas in the one model case, the error rate, the number of instances when we have error less than 10 is only 60 65%. So you see there is an improvement in the model performance, though the average remains the same. What has improved is the variance in the error has decreased considerably because of two models. Okay, and we sort of predicted both, used traditional machine learning, I mean deep learning models for forecasting wind and solar power as well. Now, one thing we sort of noticed is, we found that typically the error in forecasting wind was lesser than the error in forecasting solar. We were wondering why. Why is that? Forecasting wind always results in a lower error than forecasting solar energy. The reason is, we have what is called as complexity. Okay, some signals like the wind generation is a signal, solar generation is a signal. Some signals are more complex than the others. For example, there are some problems which are very hard in comparison to other problems. Okay, to give an okay, what is it? So let's take an example. If I want to go from Chennai to Madurai in the shortest possible time, okay, this problem can be solved very easily. However, if I want to go from Chennai to Madurai using the shortest possible time and using sort of spending very less money, okay, this problem is hard to solve. Okay, there are some classes of problems which are easy to solve. There are some classes of problems which are hard to solve. In computer science, we will call them as polynomial time problems, NP hard problems, NP complete problems, and so on. Okay, so in the same way, there are some signals which are easy to forecast. There are some signals which are very hard to forecast, and that hardness or difficulty level in forecasting a signal, there is a metric, it's called as permutational entropy. Okay, this is a metric which captures how hard a signal is to forecast. Okay, and higher this value, harder it will be to forecast. So higher will be your forecasting error. So what I am trying to say is, if you and your friend, if you are forecasting some signal, if your friend is forecasting a different signal, and if your friend is getting a lower error than you, if the professor is going to ask you why is that your friend is getting a lower error than yourself, yeah, it could be because he or she is using a better model. More fundamentally, what we need to compare is, we need to compare the permutational entropy of the signal you are using and the signal your friend is using. If the entropy of your signal is higher than your friend's signal, it indicates that you have a very difficult problem to solve. It's not that you are less smart. You are as smart as your friend, but since your signal is very hard to forecast, you're getting a higher error. That's what it indicates. Okay, and there are other things that we can do. uh, this is called as, one thing is to say I want to create a new forecasting model. The next step is, if there are multiple forecasting models, for example, if you have four friends, each of your friends has come up with a forecasting model individually, model 1, model 2, model 3, and model 4. Now what you can do is, you can take the output of all the individual models, combine them, and make it even more accurate than any of them. Okay, we have M1, M2, M3, M4. You can take the output of all these models, combine them, and make it even more accurate. That is called as level 2 forecasting. Okay, level 2 forecasting. Level 1 is what your friends are doing. Then you take their output, combine them in an intelligent way, and then you get a better output, more accurate output. It's called level 2. So we did this level 2 forecasting for wind as well, and we were able to get very good results. We did some experiments for UK wind farms. We did some experiments for wind farms in South India, Tamil Nadu, and we were able to improve the accuracy very well. Okay, so to summarize, if anybody is interested in forecasting, please understand that a single forecasting model may not be suitable for all contexts. Depending on the problem at hand, for example, we said for France, we used deep learning. For Mumbai, we used statistical AI. For the UK, we were using simple neural networks. So a single model will not be suitable for all possible problems. We should be able to understand which model is better for what conditions. Okay. Second, level 2, combining the outputs of individual models and trying to improve the accuracy, that can help. That's called L2 forecasting. Third, if you're forecasting two signals, and if you're getting a lower forecast accuracy for one signal consistently with respect to the other, then we need to understand the signal's complexity. Okay, that is using permutational entropy. That will help us figure out whether, if our model is incorrect, or is the signal inherently very hard to forecast. So these are the important lessons that I would like to share with you, okay, on forecasting. Moving on. Now this is more for some more real world problems, how we have really used AIML, okay, in controls. So I'm sure that all of us have gone in a boat, right, in a lake. If you go to Ooty, Kodaikanal, or someplace like that, we go in a boat ride. So what happens is, when you go in a boat, as the boat sort of moves, behind the boat you will see lot of waves. Okay, these waves are called as wake, wake effect. This is wake effect is nothing but it is creating a turbulence. In the same way, if there is a wind turbine okay, which is sort of, we have wind farms. If you go to Thuthukudi, Kayathar, and those sort of places in Tamil Nadu, you will see lot of windmills along the road, okay, with huge blades rotating. So these are the figure that you see on the left is a top view of the wind farm. See, each blue area is a wind turbine, and the wind is blowing from left to right. Okay, wind is coming from this direction. As the wind hits the wind turbine, the blades rotate, and then the wind passes through the turbine. Now, as the wind hits the turbine, what happens is it creates wakes. Just like the way a boat is going in a lake, you get waves, wake effect. Similarly, as the wind hits the turbine, you get lot of wake effects. The waves are getting generated. What happens is these waves, they are called as turbulence. When the turbulence hits the other wind turbines which are behind this guy, it creates a lot of stress on the turbines which are sitting behind. So the turbine blades, they become very weak. They can break very easily, okay, because of this wake effect. So one option is, can we change the direction of the wind turbine? Okay, instead of if this is a turbine, the wind is going to hit right head on, perpendicular way. If I change the wind, the turbine face, okay, the plane of the turbine, then the direction of the wake turbulence it creates will also change. Okay. However, if I change the wind turbine's phase, the power it generates is going to go down. So there is a trade-off. I want to reduce the disturbance or the stress that the turbulence creates on the turbines in the back. However, when I change the phase of the turbine, the power generated by these turbines will also go down. Okay, it will decrease. We can generate the maximum possible power only when it is 90 degrees. Okay, so the question is, what is a trade-off? How do I change the phase by what degree should I change the phase of the turbine so that my power generation does not reduce drastically? At the same time, the stress on my turbine blades is also reduced. So we have two objectives. My power should not decrease, and the stress on my turbine blades should also decrease. Okay, so that's the goal here. We have sort of solved this problem using what we call as reinforcement learning. Reinforcement learning is another new branch of, one of the branches of AI. We have supervised learning, we have unsupervised learning. Reinforcement learning belongs to what we call as experience or feedback based learning. Okay, that's what it is. We used reinforcement learning to figure out. Then this is what we discovered, right? This is the original diagram where we have all the turbulence. Now using reinforcement learning, we figured that we could change the turbine phases in such a way. And here in this new configuration, we figured that the stress on the turbine blades was reduced. At the same time, the power generated did not decrease considerably. Okay, so these are all real examples of how AI is being used to solve very complex problems in real world. Okay.
Sir, 3 o'clock. Sir, 2:30.
Okay, sure. Thanks. I'll just go in 5 minutes. So we have one more example of how AI can be used. I talked about trading in stock markets. Similarly, AI can be used to trade electricity in electricity markets. Okay, so again, we are going to combine different branches of AI. We will use a deep learning based forecaster. We will use a reinforcement learning based decision maker, etc. And so that's what we did. and then we also use conventional operations research. We combine all of them together, and then we sort of found that when we bring different facets of AI together for a single problem, we are able to sort of improve the trading efficiency. For example, when I use AI, bringing together operations research, deep learning, reinforcement learning, everything together, we found that the revenue increases something approximately 3 million euros per year. This is actually done for a customer in Europe. Okay. So one more thing, right? So let me again, a word of caution here. Whenever there is a decision to be made, okay, we should not jump right away to use AI. Okay. There are conventional ways of taking a decision. When I say AI, I mean reinforcement learning, some of the sophisticated techniques. We should not jump readily and saying that, oh, AI is going to help for me, etc. No, it's not like that. Okay. So there are specific ways by which we can sort of figure out if OR operations research is going to help or not, and this is what we use in TCS research to find out should we be using AI or should we be using something else. Okay, that's what rules. These are called thumb rules. We use rules like this to figure out what technique should we use when. Okay, and like just talk something about career opportunities in AI. Okay, see, in AI, career opportunities can be categorized under three buckets: technical roles, non-technical roles, and these are called emerging roles, newer roles that are coming up. Okay, technical roles are people who want to be in the core, saying that I want to be a AI scientist, I want to be the guy who works with data, I want to be the person who is coming up with newer algorithms for prediction, forecasting, decision making, etc., all those things. Okay, so there are some set of rules, some set of roles which sort of along those direction. The non-technical roles are the ones where AI is the background, but you want to sort of meet the customer, meet the market, meet the finance guy, okay, meet the governance of government, compliance, all the lawyers. Okay, we have a lot of non-technical roles as well. These non-technical roles are as important as your technical roles. Okay, it's not to say that only the guy who writes the AI algorithm is best, the guy who doesn't write the AI algorithm is not best. No, it's not like that. In fact, in my company, I'm in a technical role, but I work with a non-technical person, a business person, and we join hands together and work for our customers. Okay, so both the roles are equally important. Okay, it's not to say that one is better than the other. Now, third, because of things like generative AI and things like that, okay, some newer roles are coming up. These roles did not exist before. For that matter, AI ethics, I would put that here as well as here. AI ethics, security, AI security guy, because since generative chat GPT like tools have become more widespread, almost all the enterprises are going to use that. But it is very easy to sort of fool the chat GPT into giving wrong answers. So security, trying to make sure that it gives the input that we ask for, those things are very important. Second, when people start using AI, this is what I have understood from talking to real world customers. Customers want to sort of figure out if AI can decide for them. More importantly, customers also want to understand why the AI system has come up with that specific decision. What are all the things, parameters which the AI considered to arrive at that specific decision? In other words, they want the decision to be explained to them. So explainable AI specialist is a new role that's coming up. A lot many more people are sort of requesting for this. Then as AI becomes omnipresent, how should we design the interface between the AI system and the user? Should I be asking the user to type in everything? If that is the case, then my grandmother will not be able to use AI. But my grandmother has a lot of money. So if she's not able to use AI, she's not going to pay the money to buy something, right? So how do we make things lot many how do we make AI interact with people in a very more natural way? How do we design the interface? Those sort of things are coming up. Okay, so these are some of the sort of classes of career opportunities and the roles. And what skills do I need? See, today, if you go to YouTube, you get lots of advertisement which says that, oh, in this day you should not be spending 6 months learning Python. Okay, I will tell you how to learn Python in 1 week using Gen AI. Those are the kind of advertisements that you will see. Okay, yes, Gen AI has come up, which is going to make our task a lot easier. But if you ask me, we should spend enough time learning the programming language ourselves. If we have any questions, we can go to Gen AI and ask the Gen AI tool to explain the concepts or explain what is wrong in our code and things like that. Okay, but we should be able to understand the concepts ourselves fundamentally. Once we understand the fundamental concepts well, we can use Gen AI tools to generate code. Because let me tell you, if we ask the same question twice, there's a very good chance that the Gen AI tool can give two different codes with slightly different logic. Okay, we should be able to figure out what is right, what is wrong. We should be able to decide which is better. Okay, that decision making ability will come only when we understand the nuts and bolts of programming. Okay, that's so, which means I would still advise you to go and understand programming yourself, but use Gen AI to help you understand better. Do not throw away programming language completely and expect Gen AI to do the full programming. It's not going to work. Okay, so we will be stuck somewhere. We will not be able to grow beyond a specific point in our career. Number two, this is for people in other disciplines. If you are a civil engineer, if you are a mechanical engineer, if you are a bioinformatics, if you are an EC guy, a triple E guy, whatever that may be, let me assure you, moving forward, a very strong domain knowledge is needed to work with Gen AI. Gen AI will be able to make things easier for us, but there is no substitute for domain knowledge. Okay, you can be a domain expert in mechanical engineering, you could be an expert in IC engine design, you can be an expert in brake design, you could be an expert in water network, you could be an expert in hydraulic pumps, you could be an expert in power systems. The need for such expertise is not going to go away. The more expert you are, the more valuable you will be in real world. Even with Gen AI, I would say more so with Gen AI. Okay, so as a domain expert, you understand your domain well. You understand a bit of Gen AI. If you're a computer science or an IT specialist, you understand programming very well. You understand Gen AI. So there is no substitute for hard work. Let me stop here, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Participants, the chat box is open for questions. You can type your questions. Or you can raise your hand. I'll unmute you. There's a question, sir.
Yeah. So Can you ask research person? I am interested in becoming ML engineer from experience. How should I prepare myself to become ML engineer? To what extent should I go into deep machine learning and deep learning topics to be job ready? Very good. This is from Amareshwar Prasad from
Pullareddy College.
Pullareddy College, I think. Amareshwar, a question is very valid. Okay. So if you are interested in machine learning, 1 second, let me let me share my slides again. Kishore, please tell me once my slides are visible.
Yes, sir. Your slides are visible.
So Amareshwar, if you notice, I have sort of given some skills that I think are needed for if you want to be a machine learning specialist. Of course, you cannot master everything. Okay, fundamentally, you should know a programming language. I would say pick Python. Okay, then you should be good in. Please take some courses in probability and statistics. That is very important. Please take a course in linear algebra. I know you may say that I'm a computer science guy or a IT specialization guy, but please take a course in probability. Please take one course in linear algebra. Then you master a programming language like Python. Then this will set you up very well for learning machine learning by yourself. Okay, and what are the things that you would need? I mean, I will to make you job ready. What I would suggest is you must do as many projects as possible. Okay, maybe projects, real programming projects. Okay, it's not that write the factorial of a number or find out if a number is prime number. No, nothing of those sorts. Okay, you should do real complex problems. Where can you get them? Number one, if you go to things like Kaggle, if you go to ACM organizes programming contests, if you go to ACM website, if you go to Kaggle websites, you will see lot of problems and data sets given there. Some of them will require machine learning and AI expert. They will say clearly expertise. You take those problems and try to solve by yourself. It is okay even if you cannot solve the problem, but at least try and jot down what we have gone through and jot down and make a note of where you got stuck. Please write about this experience in your resume, because as a job, when you go for job interview, I have taken many interviews. When I look at a resume, the first thing I look for is what is the person interested in. Has the person taken the required prerequisite courses, technical background, and the scientific background to excel in the area of interest? And what projects has the person done in the area of interest? That's all. 99% of the interviewers will ask you question only from your resume. They will not go beyond your resume to ask questions, because the purpose of interview is not to test you on things that you do not know. An interview is primarily an avenue where people want to understand how well you know the concepts that you have stated in your resume. That's all. Okay, and for ML, I just given a list of topics that you can refer to. Yeah, in this slide. Yeah. Hope I have answered your question. Yeah. Lakshmi Gangaram, how can non PCMB students can learn AI and enhance? Okay, so by this I think PCMB refers to physics, chemistry, mathematics, and biology. Is it right? I think that's what I assume that. See, physics, chemistry, biology is not needed, but certainly mathematics is needed for AI. Okay, but nothing to worry. If you go to YouTube, you can sort of take, see, as a, if you are now taken a course in mathematics in class 11 and 12, I assume that you have taken a mathematics course at least until class 10. Okay, if that is the case, I would recommend 3 or 4 mathematical topics that you need to study. One, set theory, sets, SET, set theory. Okay, let me just type in here, set theory, and then you should again take a course in study calculus. Okay, and trigonometry, and what else is there? If you taken a algebra, okay, you take these courses that I have sort of listed here. On top of it, the same thing, you should take a course in statistics, then you should take a course in probability and statistics, and then linear algebra. Okay, so these things are needed. Once you learn this 5 or 6 courses, you should be able to understand AIML very well. Okay, so with tools like Chat GPT, okay, so that's there. And let me just go. Pavitra from Radharakshmi Engineering College. How do you see base blah 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 blah? How do you see technologies like Falcon? I'm assuming Falcon you're referring to whatever I showed in my slide deck. See, these are all real world problems that are happening today. And as I said, whatever forecasting we have done, we are using it for Mumbai, we're using it for other state utilities as well. So AI is becoming indispensable in any field as we take as of today. Okay, so that's there. Somebody wants an attendance link. Okay, 1 second. Okay, that's there. What else is there? I was into penetration testing for a year, but for the proper roadmap. Okay, 1 second. So this is Ajay Pendem. I was into penetration testing for a year, but from the past 3 months, I have started working on Gen AI and AI agent just because it's booming. Should I do what I like or switch to something that's trending? See, what I would suggest is, as I said earlier, Gen AI is becoming a tool. Okay, we should use it to our advantage. Now, the testing that you have done, it is over a year. Okay, so which means you would have gained some expertise in that field. What I would suggest is try and see how we can do testing better using Gen AI like stuff. For example, I use Gen AI to do research better. I look for topics that I like. If I want to try something, I use Gen AI to write a Python code, things like that. Okay. So instead of jumping into Gen AI completely, we should use Gen AI like a slave. We should ask it to do what we want it to do. And in the process, we should sort of improve our productivity. Okay, that's what I would suggest. Okay. Can you tell me the proper roadmap of an AI engineer? And sir, is AI and this is nursing Dawal Dobi. Nursing's question. Can you tell me the proper roadmap of an AI engineer? And is AI, ML or integrated topic? How and why? See, ML is a very, as I said, it's a subtopic of AI in the first slide as I shown. So they are related, of course. The roadmap of an AI engineer, if you look at my slides, I had given some typical, kinds of roles for AI in data science, AI, etc. So those will be the career paths for you. Okay. So I can share some more details on the career path with PALS, and they will through them you should be able to receive it. Okay. And this is Ravi Angadi from Presidency University. Blah 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 blah. How can AI be introduced into the electrical engineering curriculum to enhance students' understanding of core concepts? In what ways can I incorporate to teach core electrical courses more effectively? Oh, okay. So you are uh, see, personally, the many of the textbooks that we use, they are written in an era where video, animations, etc., were not available. Okay, so as a faculty, what we could do is we can ask Gen AI tool like ChatGPT or whatever other tool to see how to simplify the concept and present it in a step by step way. We should first introduce the concept, make students understand through images, videos, visualization, etc. Gen AI can generate those things for us. Once we understand the concept and help students understand visually what it is, then the core equations, etc., can be done. Okay, so in a way, I relearn the concepts in the same way. I mean, I don't remember everything. When I want to learn a concept, the first thing I ask ChatGPT or other prompt is Perplexity is, hey, I want to learn about you know the electromagnetic field theory. I want to learn about Maxwell's laws of flux divergence and all those things. How would I explain this to my grandmother? Okay, that's the first question I pose to the Gen AI tool, and Gen AI explains this very beautifully in a simple language. Once I get the simple answer, I ask Gen AI tool to generate some images or videos for me. It generates. Then I ask it to explain the core concepts in a more deeper way. So that's probably something which we could use typically for our teaching. Second, we can also turn to Gen AI to come up with problems of different difficulties. Okay, so we can ask Gen AI to come up with more problems as well as solutions. Of course, as an instructor, we need to verify that the solutions are correct. We need to do the homework ourselves first. Then in this two way, we can use both for preparing the lecture material. We can use it as also for preparing assignments. And I think using both these ways, I think we would be able to help students understand triple power systems concepts very well. Yeah. I think I've answered these tools. With tools like ChatGPT, how should we adapt the learning path in AIML? As I said, see, we should understand the fundamentals first. We should be strong in fundamentals. Then AI and ChatGPT should become our slave. Okay, we should make ChatGPT sort of solve our problems. Let's say if you want to take up Kaggle or ACM programming contest problems or whatever, right? And we can ask ChatGPT to come up with the first set of program to solve the problem. It is very much possible that those programs could be very wrong. Logic could be wrong. We should be able to debug the logic, improve the logic, make it more efficient. Okay, the essence of programming is not to solve a problem, it is to solve a problem more efficiently. Efficiency in terms of time it takes to solve the problem, efficiency in terms of the memory it needs to solve the problem, efficiency in terms of robustness. What will happen if I give wrong inputs, or what I give if I give dangerous inputs? Will the program get stuck? How do I make my program more reliable? Those sort of things. Okay, yeah. So I think I don't know if there are any more questions. If there are no further questions, then yeah, please let me know. Yeah.
I think we'll have a quick slide of quiz session, sir, and we can end the session, sir. We have given 5 questions. We'll have a quick quiz session and we can end, sir.
Sure, sure.
Request the participants to join in the Slido quiz. I have shared the link in the chat box. Hope my screen is visible. It is a time-based quiz. Each question will have 5 seconds, total of 5 questions. Request the participants to join the quiz. Friends, join soon. Okay, we'll start the quiz. It's a timed quiz. Each question will have 20 seconds, total of 5 questions. The first question. Which of the following may not be an example of AI that we use every day? We have 4 options. Okay, we have mixed of answers. Let's see the correct answer. Okay, 42% of them got the right answer. The second question. Which is not a subfield of AI? Okay, 54 of them opted C. Let's see. Oh, D is the correct answer. Okay. So can you explain why this answer? Because 54 of them got answered 50 C, quantum computing.
Yeah, this is not a subfield of AI. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, other things are parts of AI. Quantum need not be a subfield of AI. Yeah. It's
Okay.
not.
The third question. Does Ola and Uber use AI? Okay, 88% of them of yes. Okay, yes is the right answer. Fourth question. ML based forecasting is always better than statistical techniques. It's a true or false question. Okay, same mixed response. We'll see the correct answer. Okay. Say any explanation you want to give, sir?
No, the example that we saw that right in my case for Mumbai, ML technique did not work at all. Statistical technique worked. So the question is ML always better? Yeah, the answer is no.
Okay, sure. The last question. I request the participants after answering the question, please come to the Zoom screen. We'll see the leaderboard. We'll have the top 5 places who answered in a short duration. So we'll see the leaderboard after this question. I request the participants to come to the Zoom screen. Now you are in the web screen. Right? This also got mixed response answers. We'll see the right answer. Okay, 36 persons have answered the right answer. Okay. Now I reveal the leaderboard. I hope all came to your Zoom screen. Okay. Tirumurugan got 4 questions right in 55 seconds. Hemant got in 56 seconds. Hemapriya got 57 seconds. Arunachalam got 1.2 seconds. And Syed got in 1.3 seconds. Thank you for attending the quiz. Thank you for the wonderful session, sir. Now I request Mr. Ramaswamy, PALS champion, to give the vote of thanks and closing remarks.
So, thank you, Mr. Sarangan. So that was a general topic AI and ML for real world industry problems. And then Mr. Venkatesh Sarangan had packed so much of information. This can be, further based on this, it's very clear for the students to go where they want. Mr. Sarangan touched upon the various verticals where it was useful, like in medicine, in banking, finance, media, and most of all energy. So in those days, when I came to the shop floor, I can't even imagine doing this because there was no power, first of all. In 1979-80, Tamil Nadu had a power cut, and I was in a power intensive industry, and there was no renewable energy. And throughout my career, optimizing the power in manufacturing, that is the major cost for a foundry. So I was very much interested in manufacturing. Now I was fascinated to see that first of all, you forecast, the power demand on a daily basis. I could not even imagine when I joined, manufacturing. Now you are able to forecast, and then you are able to forecast how much wind or solar energy will be available, and therefore you can switch on your other regular power, and this is something which appeals to me very much. So he touched forecasting. Then once having forecast, then you have to control it. So then how to control the wind farms and the blades and optimize it and come to a win-win situation. That was a very interesting one for me. That is with the wave and with all the turbulence. And then again in decision making. So overall, he's a expert in energy management. So that was of great interest to me. But of course, I'm a core guy. I got in lot of terminologies. Now I will have to be reading up because it has kindled my energy, though I have retired. Now I will be reading up. So that was good. So, and then the various types of AI, then whether to use OR or whether to use deep learning or whether to use reinforcement learning, everything was set in the context of when to use what. So this should be an eye opener to the students. And last but not the least, he was the way the pains he took to answer the questions. So when somebody told the aim, then he was able to say which are the courses they should take, and then how they should equip themselves to each and every question. He gave a very focused advice. So whoever attended this session with the intention of making a career, they can be very clear, and they can also, if they are in a core area, they can use AI as a tool. They need not jump on to try to become an expert. And the other thing which I liked, which all of us say again and again, is that you cannot, the domain knowledge is required, whether you are a mechanical engineer or electrical. Just because you can use AI, you cannot forget your fundas. That is something which I think today's students should remember. We always used to say, go back to the basics.
Yes, yes, yes.
Which is even before engineering science. We used to say, and that again came out in today's lectures, that even though you use generative AI, even though you use it for writing your programs, still you should be a good programmer. You should be a good electrical engineer, you should be a good civil engineer or a mechanical engineer. And if you are in the computer science, you should be a good programmer, because if it gives two options, you must be able to select the right one. So all in all, whenever I attend the lectures of experts like Dr. Venkatesh Sarangan, I have to be very attentive, as I was 40 years ago, even to make remarks. It's always learning. Every PALS lecture is for me as much learning as for the students. So I would like to thank Pati. I think through his good offices we got Dr. Sarangan to come, and since he's also in the same field, he could introduce him very well. Then of course I should thank PMO Kishore and the PALS PMO office for conducting very smoothly. And one more thing I noticed was Dr. Sarangan, every time, even as he was projecting, at the outset he made it clear that whether the screen was visible or not, he ensured that, because very often speakers start speaking, then we interrupt them to say that the screen is not visible. So these are some of the small things I noticed. So all in all, it was a power-packed session, and it's a foundation. There are a lot of more sessions which can come from this session. So,
thank you, sir.
Thank you all, and thanks all the participants, because after all it was meant for you, and for those of you who took interest, you asked the right question, and I'm quite sure the answers would have benefited all the people, whether they asked the question or not. So that's it, and once again, big thanks to the resource person. He has enlightened us all and added value to the session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Venkatesh Sarangan, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
மாதிரியேதான். ஆனா இந்த ஃபேன்ஸ் புதுசுல படிச்சிருக்காங்க, குறைச்சு வச்சு ரேஸ் விடுவானுங்க.